What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So typically I would have a live trading video for you guys to watch. The live trading video is made during our chat room session. So when we're working and trading in our private community, I like to record the screen, and then after we're done doing all those trades, typically I would upload it to YouTube. Well, there was a lot more trading that ended up happening when we weren't recording, so I figured rather than upload the live trading video that's like an hour long that only has a few trades, I would much rather just go over a trade recap with you guys where I'll run you guys through every single trade that we pretty much did on the day, trying to give you guys as much detail as possible about why we made the trades when we made them. So all in all, today we're going to be wrapping up the trading day with about $8,000 green, so ended up being a really good day. Started off a little rocky, and we're going to cover all that coming up here in just a second. All right, guys, so here is the P&L for the day. On MDXG, made 253 bucks. EBON was an accidental fat finger. EQOS made 3,700. MRNA lost 414. NEO made 563. MRKR made 573. REFR made 3,800. ACRS made 4,857. FUBO was an accidental fat finger. LOOP was an accidental fat finger. HTBX lost 5,508 bucks, and then SNOW currently still long 50 shares, but right now positive $780 right now, and that's gotten the P&L up to about $8,000 on the day. I had a lot of commission today of $618, and that's because I was trading really big size for majority of the day, so spent a lot of money trading today, but still netted about an $8,000 day. So that's the good news. So what we're going to do now is just kind of recap all these trades as best as we possibly can, giving you as much detail as we possibly can as to why we were doing the trades when we did them. The best thing that you can probably do is hit the thumbs up on this video. That way, hopefully the YouTube algorithm works and more people can get viewed on this video. That being said, let's get into it. So first stock that I traded on the day was HTBX. I've been really crushing it lately, and I got a little trigger happy and pretty much over leveraged a short here, and then got squeezed up on this move. So I wake up in the morning. I didn't get alerted of HTBX when it was all the way at 720, which I'm not entirely sure why, and I'm kind of salty that I didn't, because if I had, then I would have nailed the short from here down to here. So I had thought at the time we were going to drop like this, and then we were going to bounce a little bit and then roll over down towards the statistical average here. Well, we ended up keep going up. So what I did was I entered short a couple thousand shares here. We dropped out. I was up $1,000 on the day. And then it bounced. I added more short. We got held. It bounced again. I added more short here. It fell over. And then I let it pretty much go to this point, and then I got squeezed up in this move. And I was pretty much the main reason this went up. So for anybody that was long this morning pre-market, congratulations, you squeezed me, and I was part of the reason you made money today, because I will say that this candle, and that candle, I was getting squeezed on. I was exiting on those three candles, so I had 12,000 shares short. So I was a big portion of the long move that went up today on this stock, so if you ended up making money on that particular play, you should hit the thumbs up on this video, because I was part of the reason you made money today. But ended up losing like a total of 7,000 on that trade. Then what I did was I pretty much waited till we were fading down into this kind of descending formation, added short 3,000 shares, and then I ended up covering a lot of those shares down here. I held 900 shares throughout the day, faded them all the way down to this location, and then covered. So all in all, it was negative $7,000 at the time of the squeeze this morning on HTBX. Then I added a total of like 3,500 shares short, faded some pre-market, held 900 shares short throughout the day, covered into this drop here. So I ended up remaining at a loss of $5,500 on the day with HTBX. So going into today's trading, I was negative, basically $6,000. All right. Next trade that we will touch on is MDXG, which was actually really lucky. So I ended up taking a short trade on MDXG. like right here. I quickly hopped in short without really doing much analysis, and I'm like, you know what, that's a dumb trade. You're basically chasing this move down. You shouldn't even be in the move, so you should just take it off. So I was actually red 200, and I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to take the trade off. And I went to market out 2,000 shares, and literally when I clicked market buy, the candle dropped down to here, and I actually marketed out like right on the bottom of that candle and ended up winning 250 bucks. So MDXG was actually supposed to be a loser, and then I just got super lucky that somehow the same time that I clicked buy market, stock dropped, and I actually clicked market buy like right when the candle dropped down. So that was impressively lucky. So I really shouldn't have won money on MDXG today, but I did, and so you'll take it. All right, next one here is EQOS. So EQOS was all shorting. That's how I made all my money on it today, shorting. All right, so the first thing I did, actually pretty much what I ended up doing with EQOS was I took a small short in here. The candle started to drop out. I got short here, added more on top of these green candles, and then I covered this low. So this was kind of a late short. Typically, I'd be entering short here, but I had missed the move a little bit, but I knew there was still some more downside. So I took a little short in here of a couple thousand shares and covered into this low. I think I made like 600 bucks or something. And then I watched the candles squeeze all the way back up to here, and then I re-entered 5,000, almost 6,000 shares short on the tops of these candles, and then covered as we crashed down into this low on the day. And then I re-entered 400 shares short. Excuse me 1 second. I re-entered, why are you being stupid? Computer, stop. All right, so then I re-entered 400 or 500 shares short, you know, like up here, and then pretty much just let it fade all the way down and covered. So really the main play was a 5,000 to 6,000 share short here, covering the bottom of that move, and then fading another 500 shares down. So faded 500 shares down. So what was the reason for wanting to trade bearishly on EQ at these prices? All right, so if I go and show you the daily chart, it might look a little different now. Okay, it does, yeah. So at the time, this blue line was right at the top at 1166. So the way that we would look at this, and if you're looking at the right screen now, is on the intraday chart, EQ running, or EQOS running. Everyone, there's so much momentum, it's going to keep going for forever until we reach the long-term daily chart trending resistance, and then we all come in and hammer it short. So as EQ was running up to the high of 1166, the blue line was actually right here at 1166, so that tells me that we are, when at 1166, we're on the long-term trending resistance mark. It's not logical to be long at that point. Your probability of winning would be significantly higher if you're betting down at that point. And so that's why we bet down. So a 6,000 share short here, top of this move, covered into the bottom of that move, because we are running into long-term trending resistance. Okay. Next one of the day is MRNA. So MRNA was really me being salty that I missed the original move on the day, and then trying to really kind of trade it and make some money after being down like $5,000. So this was pretty much me just being an idiot is really what it was. So the long-term dip buy was right off 1130 or 134 to 133, and we even said that in chat today. We're like, if MRNA drops to 134 zone to 133, you buy long, and sure enough, dropped down, squeezed up, and then what we tried to do, which we shouldn't have tried to do, is more or less me, you know, maybe being somewhat revengeful, trying to make some money back on the day, being antsy, trying to make money because I was down so much. You can kind of see there's like a sort of a bull flag set up here, which really wasn't even a good bull flag. It looked like shit, and I still tried to trade it and caused the move to go up. Ended up stopping out here in this move and took a $500 loss. All right, so the main reason we wanted to be long bias overall, at least in the 134s to 133s today, is if we were to go and look at the long-term trending chart on MRNA. Give it a second. All right, if you go look at this long-term chart, where are we at? You see that line? You see that orange line? Stock is falling all the way down into long-term trending support. So as the stock moves into those prices for the first attempt on the day, we would normally get a reversal. And so that's exactly what happened at 134.30. Stock dropped down, instantly squeezed up a couple points, and that's the trade we were really trying to get, but we were still optimistic that MRNA could continue moving higher on the day because it had already fallen so much from the previous highs, and it was coming very close to that long-term trending support. So we figured the bounce that we had initially seen on the day would end up having follow through, and then the move would keep going. Well, as you witnessed, it didn't keep going. We stopped out, $500 loss. Okay. On to the next one here, which is NEO. So NEO was fun. Didn't trade it as good as we could have, but overall still green on the day with NEO. Okay, so NEO started crashing like middle of the day, early morning, if you may. So you can see here NEO starts to crash. So the two trades that we did on NEO today were one a scalp and then one a bounce. So one, the scalp was here on the bottom of these candles, and then we sold the top of that green candle. And at the time, we literally were like, just scalp NEO. Don't go for a big long hold. It's probably not yet. Just go for a scalp move. So we did a long scalp here, made like $100. And then as NEO dropped down to here, I longed 3,000 shares, covered some very quickly, and then let about 400 or 500 shares ride up to about this point, and then took them off. So traded pretty much, this bounce from down here to up here. Now, why did we trade the bounce on NEO there? So this was more of watching Tesla to figure out what NEO was going to do. So if we were to go and look at Tesla today, so I'm going to unlink this chart. I'm going to bring Tesla up on the right chart. So let's do that. All right, so if you look at Tesla, Tesla crashed right in the morning. Since NEO and Tesla are in the same business and they're in bed together, whenever Tesla tends to drop or have a good day, typically NEO has some similar movement. So it looked like the crash on NEO today was primarily sympathy to what was happening on Tesla. So at the time when Tesla was trading down here, it was trading in our blue line, which is support. So we figured Tesla was going to bounce here, and if Tesla bounced, then NEO was going to bounce. So really what we did to trade NEO today is we looked at the aggressive volatility on the downside with Tesla, correlated that with NEO, and said, okay, reason NEO's going down is because Tesla's going down, and as soon as Tesla bounces, we should get a bounce on NEO. So what we basically did was time the bounce on Tesla to actually enter long on NEO. So that was the reason for that particular trade. And then the reason we took the trade off where we did, why we traded from like here up to here, is because at the time, or no, it still is. You see how this is the blue line? This blue line right here, that's the long-term 9-day moving average. So in the immediate, really the projected move was from down here to up there. And at the time, that was it. That's as much as you were probably going to get. And then you could see it pulled back. Later, we go higher. But in the immediate, for day trading purposes, the move was really from here to here, and looking for anything longer than that or more than that in the immediate just wasn't going to happen without a pullback. And so at this time I was already down like $5,000, so making $500 was kind of felt good, kind of like the first good trade that I did on the day. So I wanted to take it off and ensure that I was making some money on the trade. All right, next trade here is MRKR. So MRKR was a short that I really didn't do all that well with. I really only made like $150 after commission on shorting this. So MRKR, I want to say I was short like maybe, I don't even remember. I played a lot today, but I was short at least 10,000 shares. So started entering short here, entered more short here, and then covered right on this green candle dip, and then it just faded out. So I traded this poorly. If I would have done it right, we would have had another couple $1,000 green on MRKR. Is that what it's called? Yeah, MRKR. So to put it simply, added short, covered into this drop, and it really just wasn't a good trade. I really needed to catch that fading move in either this one to make it a good trade. So it was almost a good trade, but really a scratch trade because I had to purchase a lot of shares of short on this stock. So by the time I got done with locate fees, I already spent like $400 on the stock, and then I only made $573. I really only made $173 on the short. So it was almost a scratch trade. But what was the reasoning behind shorting MRKR? So if we look down here at the news, MRKR has no news, okay? When a stock has no news and it's running, it's very unsustainable for the move to continue going higher, and it's most likely going to crash down. So that was number one. Number two, if you look at the pricing here, at the time we were, and even in this time frame, even right now, you can see that the price of MRKR is well over this blue line. So anytime intraday stocks are trading over the 3 standard deviation mark, that tells us they're way overbought and it's probably going to come down. So on the intraday chart, we're over the blue line. On the intraday chart, we're running into that purple line, which you can see, and that's the 200 long-term moving average. And then just above that, at the price of 212, you would have no clue this existed unless you chart the way I do. And what was at 212 was even stronger resistance than everything else I just explained. So let's go take a look at MRKR, and I'll show you exactly how you would go about finding that resistance. So you go look at the daily chart. I think it's the daily chart and the 4-hour. But you can see here on the daily chart, you have this dotted line there. That's a long-term half standard deviation resistance mark, but I think it was the 4-hour chart I was trading here. Yeah, there you go. You see that red line? That's a 2 standard long-term deviation resistance. So as the price is running up into that price point, for the first time, it's usually going to drop away from it. So if you think about this as a whole, you have MRKR running up on the day. It's overbought on the intraday chart. It's running into long-term 200 moving average resistance, and it's running into long-term trending resistance, and it's got no news. Yeah, probably going to fade out, but anyways, I still didn't capture most of the short correctly because apparently I suck. I don't know. All right, next one on the day is REFR. Here's a big winner. So REFR, we came in at $3,700 green. And even this one, I didn't fully fade enough, but still traded really well on it. All right, this is the same exact play as MRKR, okay? If you look down here, stock is running on no news. So the stock is literally going up on the day with no news, all right? So when I look at the stock, and it's running up, it's extremely overbought. You can see it's over the blue, and it was even higher over the blue than what it looks like right now. But either way, stock is over the blue. So for one, it's already overbought on the intraday chart. Number two, if you look at this price point here on the highs, what do you think that is? That's a long-term trending resistance mark. So let's go take a look at, I think, the daily chart with this. So let's look. So we go look at REFR. Boom, there you go. You see that long-term yellow trending resistance mark? That long-term trend? That's why I have that dotted line over it. So when I'm charting and I'm looking at stuff and I'm going to the yearly chart and the 4-hour chart, what I'm going to do is put my own price level. You know, I go to the yearly chart and then I go, okay, that's the price that we're not going to break right there. And so whenever the stock moves into those resistance points for the first time, they usually aren't going to break, so I'll trade it opposite. So essentially, I would like to think that I'm doing opposite of what most of the market's trying to do at that time frame. People are trying to maybe long this top, get it to keep going, where we're saying we're right at resistance, sell it down. So intraday chart, stock's overbought, stock's running on no news, and it's running into its longer term trending resistance right at 351. So what I ended up doing was adding short through here, and then I added, more short here. I think I had about 21,000 shares short at one point, so I was fading 21,000 shares, covered most of it here, let another couple thousand fade out to like here, and then that was it. Or maybe actually it was probably sooner than that. I had 21,000 shares short. I started shorting here. We got the retest of resistance. I added more short, adding into a total of 21,000 shares short. I think my average was like 331, so my average was right here. So as soon as we cracked below 331, it was just payday. Okay, so that's really all there is with that. So that netted 3,799. All right, next one on the list is ACRS. This is another great example, and still I didn't trade this all the best I could have, but we crushed this one too. So this again was a short trade, and I'll show you how we go about finding the tops and the short. So let's open up ACRS here on the right screen. All right, so we go look at this. Let's pop it onto a daily chart. Look at the blue line. All right, you see the blue line? Boom. So at the time, the blue line, I think, was actually at 669. Like really, the actual high a day? No, that doesn't seem right. No, it wasn't. Actually, I think this is entirely correct. I think the 648 is actually correct. So this line here at 650, 648, that was the long-term 365-day or 1-year day chart resistance mark, okay? So we're watching the stock go up, and guess what? Boom. This stock was, at the time, running on no news. Again, stock going up on no news. Very, very unsustainable for a stock to continue trending higher on the day, especially when it doesn't have any news to justify the move. Thirdly, as it's running into long-term resistance. So stock's running up on no news. We didn't even try to trade it long all day. We basically just waited for it to go up till it got to a low-risk selling point because it was running on no news, so there was pretty strong conviction it would end up fading out. I can't remember the size on this. Oh, I think I had about 10,000 shares short, so started entering short here, And here had about 10,000, and then it squeezed up, and then we ended up kind of fading out, and I covered most of the short down into that move, which netted 4,857. And then I think I did another short in here somewhere and caught a little bit more of the drop. But really the main point was we just let this stock run on no news all the way until it hit long-term trending resistance marks, and then we just sold into everybody. And then as soon as all those longs eventually stopped themselves out, we covered into their stop losses is essentially what we were doing. All right, next one on the list is the last one, and that is SNOW. So SNOW currently long 50 shares. This was one of the recommendations we put maybe even onto YouTube, maybe not, maybe, I don't actually know, I can't remember. But this was one of our recommendations for a long today because if you look at the long-term chart on SNO, it had dropped all the way out from highs. So you'll see here SNO had come all the way from the highs of 429, dropped all the way down to 308, and we actually recommended to our premium chat room members yesterday to dip buy this at the 306 price. So you can see those two lines there. Those were our support dips, and we told people to long off that. So some of them took that. But we figured it could still be a long today because, A, it sold all the way from 429 all the way down to like 300. So there's obviously room for this to bounce back. So we were targeting overall up to a price of 351, which we didn't hit today, but we could very well hit in the next couple days. So I actually traded this poorly to begin the day. I started going long here, added more long here, was green 500 on this move up, and then ended up stopping out. Later in the day, it ended up squeezing, so I took like 900 shares long, scalped up 900 shares, and I held 50 shares for the long move up. But pretty much to put it simply, you ended up having this wedge flag break. I noticed that, ended up going long 900 shares, scalped it up, made about 1,000, and now I'm just holding 50 shares long for a swing trade. Sorry, that was a lot to go over. It is easier when I have a live trading video to show it rather than me having to explain all this, but I didn't really have the recording going today for a majority of these trades. So I might still upload the live trading video at some point. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. But anyways, there are a couple trades that you guys could see me do live. Maybe I still will upload that. If you guys let me know in the comment section below, would you like me to upload the live trading session from the day? It won't cover all the trades, but at least I'll cover some. If you guys really want it, then of course I'll upload it. So just let me know in the comment section below if that's something you guys want me to do. Other than that, take your forehead, smash your keyboard, make sure it hits the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Everybody take care. Phenomenal day. Can't wait to do it again.